the personal home that I own in California has appreciated approximately $80,000 each year, right? And that's in the last 6 years. So knowing that and seeing that is making me realize that, while it's probably unlikely that I'm going to cash flow a lot of money in this market because it is expensive here compared to rents, but appreciation is a strategy that I'm banking on in California. So how can I acquire another single family asset that...
Hello, everyone. We're Jacqueline and Melvin Landry, and we welcome you to our podcast, Get Diversified. Throughout these series, we'll cover all the topics and questions you have about investing in apartment buildings, storage facilities, and mobile home parks. Being knowledgeable in these areas will help you feel more comfortable about investing. Apartment investing equals building wealth. Building wealth equals financial freedom. Achieving financial freedom allows you to spend your time with building memories with your loved ones. Let's face it, time is the one element in life that is limited, and you don't want to waste it.
Hi, folks, and welcome to another podcast of Get Diversified. And I am your host, Jacqueline Landry. Nice to see you all again. I am here with Yana Epps. She is the property princess. So, Yana, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jacqueline. Happy to be here.
And I forgot to mention, not only is she the property princess, her and I have co-authored a book called Real Women in Real Estate. You can actually get it on Amazon. You can get it in an audio version or a hard copy. So if you all are interested in reading Yana's story, as well as 27 other phenomenal women doing real estate, and you want to laugh, cry, and be inspired all in the same book, this is the book to buy. So welcome, Yana, to the show. I want to get into more about your chapter in the book, and then just kind of dig into some of those real important issues to you. So why don't you kind of start us off and give us a little bit of a background just on yourself and kind of what you're up to?
Absolutely. So my chapter in the book really just talks about like how I landed in real estate, some of the early inspiration that I had from my family, some of the obstacles that I had to overcome in life in general, and what really just encouraged me to take up investing overall. So to date, I have about 23 plus years of experience, which is a combination of lending, rehabbing properties. I have a California license, and I'm also an investor, obviously. And I've done wholesaling and just a number of things in real estate. But now I just have a focus on pretty much multifamily investing. So in my chapter, I kind of talk about my grandparents who were investors, my parents who were investors, and from an early age, how I took on the mindset of building wealth. As young people, we don't all have that opportunity to have great examples. But fortunately enough for me, I did. And it just kind of taught me from a young age how to start doing some of the right things with my money to build a life for myself that would benefit me in the long run.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're trying to do that with our son who's 8.
Never too early.
Start early. So he definitely knows what investing is. And
I love your videos, by the way, Jacqueline. He is adorable, and he is going to be killing the game if he's already so knowledgeable.
He is the CMO of Moreland Equity Capital,
hey,
girl. And let me tell you.
Give him a title then.
He's like, my friends don't believe me. So let's get into some of the inspiration. So usually people, sometimes there's people around you doing great things and you just don't catch on. So what really wanted you to get in investing? What were some of the qualities that you saw in them? Was it just the growth in money, or was it something else?
I wasn't really interested in those Thanksgiving table dinner conversations that were kind of boring to me at the time. I didn't realize I was being inspired, but it was the conversations that were being had. It was the success of the family members that were doing it, the comfort in their lifestyle. I'm not claiming to be, raised by rich people, but they were definitely not struggling. And, I wondered how my grandmother, who was a supervisor of our public school district transportation department, she worked a regular job and retired from a regular job, but she had this whole entire real estate portfolio. And that amazed me. And the older I got, and, I just became more intrigued with how did she do that? How do you own so many apartment buildings and houses all over the place? And you're just working this regular job, And no one like sat me down and said, Yana, these are the steps you got to take. This is what you have to do. It was more like osmosis, I guess. Is that the right word? I'm just kind of absorbing it. And I'm like,
It just
well,
kind of comes in. Yes,
I
for
got to
sure.
figure it out. And I took it
So
upon
you just figured
myself.
it out, and you did it all by yourself?
Yeah. So I started reading, listening, learning. Fortunately enough for me, one of my first corporate jobs was in the world of finance. And I got a chance to learn about how credit works. I was working for a credit card company. I knew that I never wanted to fall victim to debt traps the way that most of my clientele were. Drowning in debt, 23% interest, holes that they can never climb out of. And I was like, wow, this is not how credit cards are supposed to be used. So that was the first insight that I had into the proper use of credit, which helped me keep mine clean from a young age. And then I started lending, which helped me understand the world of equity. When you own property, you build up this equity, you can leverage it to do other things. And I thought that was pretty amazing. And from that point, I'm just like, how do I become an owner? Ownership is so important, especially here in California, where, it's kind of unattainable to some people. It's really hard to own property in California unless you're making a really good income, or believe it or not, I've now changed my thought to it doesn't really require you to make a ton of money. It just requires you to have better habits and more focus, because there's a lot of people that I feel like could afford home ownership. They just don't have the best practices.
Got it. So what are some of the best practices you think?
Well, I think it definitely starts with budgeting and savings, right? Because a lot of us, unfortunately, do fall victim to consumer debt, and we buy things that we can't afford by putting them on credit. Even walking into a store, headed to the sales rack to save 25%, but you're putting it on a credit card where you're getting charged 25%. And like just some of the things that we do because we need immediate gratification, they're just bad habits that we have to learn how to break free from. So like learning how to delay that gratification. I'm not going to spend this money this month on things that I feel like make me happy today, because I'm going to put it towards a long-term goal that's going to set me up for the future. It's learning how to decipher between our needs and our wants, and being more responsible, being a better steward of our finances.
So did you think that debt was a bad thing?
Consumer debt, yes, but learning how to properly leverage debt and utilize low interest debt for investments, there's definitely a difference, right? So we talk about having a bunch of Home Depot and Macy's and Best Buy cards that are only used for retail purchases. You're going to pay double-digit interest, and you can't really use them to buy something that makes money. So that kind of debt is definitely horrible. You can use it responsibly to build credit, but at the end of the day, the only good debt is something that is low interest, that is going to allow you to purchase something like a home or a business that would eventually make you more money. So a lot of
Yeah.
power in debt, the right
Yeah,
kind.
absolutely. We were just having that conversation. So we just got home from a mastermind event in Phoenix, Arizona. And we had about a 2-hour conversation on the way home when we were talking about this 4 unit that we purchased. And, what we're going to do is once we buy 4, probably 3 or 4, we're going to refi into a portfolio loan. So what does that do? So we were kind of talking through that whole process. Well, now it's appraised here. We can get a loan for here. Our interest rates are lower than what we're paying with hard money. And so potentially we can take 50, 75, $100,000 cash out of the property And what else? We still own the property. Our payments are probably going to be lower than what they are now. And guess what? I can take that 25, 50, or $100,000 and go put it in multifamily, a big multifamily deal, and flip it and double it in 3 to 5 years. And I was like, that is how the rich get wealthy.
Rich,
And there's,
exactly.
as we know, there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. So I love the word leverage, and I love how that all works and how magical it seems. And people don't realize that it's not that difficult to do.
Yeah, like I don't think I mean, it could be possible if you had enough income, but it's way harder to try to save enough money to do these things, right? Debt is the key to success in this world because we've been trained to only recognize and know bad debt. And so some of us want to be debt free, which is not always a good thing because we need debt in order to leverage debt. And it's scary because we have to learn the difference between the two. And then we have to not be afraid to take on good debt. It is very risky if you don't know what you're doing, but you learn the right strategies. And just like you said, this bell goes off and you see the opportunity. And then you have to be willing to take the risk because that's the only way that you're ever going to see those types of returns.
Exactly, exactly. So now you said you went from fixing and flipping and doing lending, and now you're doing multifamily. Tell us a little bit about what that means, how you're doing multifamily.
So, my initial investment as a limited partner was just investing some of my money into an apartment complex with a team that I grew to know and trust. And um, the deal's going well. And, I'm like wanting to invest more and more as soon as I started to see the potential and what, like you said, I can double my money in 3 to 5 years. That is a great opportunity. So now I kind of had a mind shift because no longer did I feel like I want to buy all these things that I need. Or, even recently I have a major regret of purchasing a new car. Why did I do that? I already had a car, but I wanted a second car. How stupid was that? Where just the price of that car could have been another investment that could have doubled in 5 years, So learning to just focus on getting to that goal sooner. And when I say that goal, I'm talking about retirement because obviously we all want passive income, but I particularly want enough to live off of. So if I'm saving more money, putting it into cash producing assets, then I get there faster, right? Because I had to have a mind shift when it came to that too, because you talk to a financial advisor, financial planners tell you that retirement means you're 62, you're 65. And if they tell you that, you're going to take that much time. But I don't think it matters what age you are at all. I think it matters on how much money you have in the bank. So if I can hit that target faster, why not accelerate my savings, reduce my spending, and get there sooner? So that light bulb kind of went off for me in the last, I think I probably say 7 years. So I've really drastically changed a lot of my own habits because now I'm just like racing myself to that goal,
Yeah. So what's your financial freedom number?
Gosh. I guess it really
I know when people
depends.
ask me that, mine changes like probably on a weekly basis, but I think we kind of have it down now. So I'm just curious to know what yours is.
I mean, if we're talking about living like a comfortable lifestyle, you're talking about, you want to hear a dollar amount?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think if I could have $20,000 a month in passive income, and keep in mind, I live in California, so it's different cost of living. But if I had $20,000 a month in passive income, I could kick my feet up. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to do anything at that point. So,
Awesome.
and that means
Awesome.
that in order to get to $20,000 a month, I have to have enough money in the bank to produce that type of interest. So it's a big number.
Exactly. So ours is a little bit bigger than that. I think we want to take our little guy to Dubai and he wants to go first class. He's like, Mom, because we could take a shower on the airplane.
I'm trying to do that too.
So ours is a little bit bigger. It's like 50,000. And I think we're taking a little bit of a different approach. We're really diversifying.
Yeah.
Right. So multifamily, some people have this misconception that It's like a get rich quick or get wealthy quick scheme. And it's not,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
If I invest today, I'm not going to see the real fruit of that investment for 3 to 5 years.
Gotta have
So if I need
patience.
money to live in between the 3 and 5 years, it's not going to come from multifamily. And you
Yeah.
may get some distribution checks, some mailbox money. That's like money you can put in your pocket. That's not money you can pay real bills with, right? So we actually are diversifying into additional asset classes that produce more of a constant cash flow. So
That's awesome.
we're in a triple net deal. We want to get into a debt fund or an equity fund where they're
Yep.
paying up again monthly cash flow. And then what we're doing here in Pittsburgh is we're trying to build our rental portfolio. And that's kind of where our $50,000 comes in. So we were figuring out, well, how many do we need for cash flow to reach that 50,000, right? So we were doing that calculation yesterday. Things are cheap here in Pittsburgh, but so that's kind of our plan is, and sometimes you have to switch. You
Yeah,
have to
you
switch your
do.
focus, right? Like maybe it's multifamily, but multifamily, as we know, is not as good as it was a few years ago. So while that's dropping, other asset classes could be higher and then kind of offset where you're not taking, you're lessening your risk.
And I love that you said diversification because I think it's so important. There's always going to be something that has your key focus, right? Like if multifamily is your specialty, then so be it because you know it well. But I think it's always important to be diversified and well diversified. I'm also looking at getting into other asset classes. In fact, as much as I talk about scalability and multifamily and how much I love it, I actually just bought another single family resident because I'll tell you why. The personal home that I own in California has appreciated approximately $80,000 each year, right? And that's in the last 6 years. So um, knowing that and seeing that is making me realize that, while it's probably unlikely that I'm going to cash flow a lot of money in this market because it is expensive here compared to rents, but appreciation is a strategy that I'm banking on in California. So how can I acquire another single family asset that, fractional ownership is great. I own a small piece of a large pie and it diversifies my risk as well. But it's also nice to own outright. So when I bought this new single family asset, it's mine 100%, 100% of the risk, of course, but also 100% of the gain belongs to me. So that's how I'm diversifying with my multifamily investments. My goal is to live in this property for a couple years. I bought it in a high interest market, which isn't really high to me because I come from the lending world where we were doing double digit lending before, but buying it at 6.5%, waiting until the market drops a little bit, refi the property, get a tenant in there, and as soon as the rates drop, what happens to my value? It goes up. So that's another strategy that I'm implementing.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I like when people say, or I don't like when people say, oh, you have to pick an asset class and you have to stick with it. I agree with you can't be experts in all asset classes all at one time. Get to know one asset class. But we're not giving up what we're doing from a single family perspective when we can flip a property and make 20 to $50,000. That's a nice payday.
Exactly.
And if I don't need it for cash flow, for my own, personal living or for our own personal living, then I can take it and invest it in something that's going to give me big returns like multifamily or self-storage. So I'm
Exactly.
all with you. You got to diversify. And that's actually how we came up with this podcast name is right. Get diversified. We're a diversified family. We
Yep.
love people of all shapes, sizes, colors, religions, whatever. We love that. And then also it just kind of spans into just being investors and how we truly believe in diversification. So I love that. So let's talk about something else in your book that was really interesting to me, financial literacy. Talk to me about what that means to you and why that's so, deep in your heart.
Well, because I think, Jacqueline, like education is what really sets us free, right? I think it is expensive to go out and seek an education, but the tuition that you pay for not having education I mean, it doesn't even compare. When you don't know about money, uh, everything is so expensive. You don't really know how to manage finances. You don't know how to take advantage of opportunity. And you find yourself in a constant struggle with finances. And I don't think anybody really wants to live like that. But some of us, unfortunately, don't have any other options that are like, forced upon us. Like, if you come up in a family where you have great financial examples around you, I am fortunate to have a close relationship with finances based on my family, but obviously I come from an underserved community where it's not taught. We don't get this education from public schools or any other sources. So it's upon us. We have to take it upon ourselves to go find the information. And it does set us free, like literally, having better habits and just not wasting money. A lot of people claim they can't afford certain things. We were talking about this earlier, like ownership and how hard it is to attain. I think a lot of it could have to do with income, but it could also have to do with bad habits and just learning how to put money away for rainy days and, not have to use credit in the wrong way. And so for
Absolutely.
those reasons, I'm passionate about teaching what I know. Like I never really claimed to be like a financial advisor or expert, but I know enough to keep myself out of trouble, and I want to help others adopt that mentality. So,
And so how are you doing that? Are you doing that through Facebook? Are you getting on other people's stages? Like, how are you doing that?
yeah, even like you having this conversation with me here today, like I just want to evangelize the concept of having a different relationship with money. I do have a Facebook group where I try to promote these concepts and just get people kind of thinking different. Um, with social media nowadays, it can be such a blessing and such a curse because it also is one of the main things that I feel like drives people to make bad decisions with money because unfortunately, a lot of us still want to keep up with the Joneses and we're looking at someone else's life, comparing it to our own, thinking that we have to look like them or have the same things, dress like them. We're all inspired or influenced by what we see in the media. But I think it just has to do with having the willpower to break free from like what other people think about us and, not comparing ourselves, kind of living in our own lane and focusing on our own goals. Because the moment you can really just not care anymore and you just focus on really what matters, you find yourself not buying or, not spending money that you shouldn't be spending. And so that was the thing that made it easiest for me is not trying to keep up anymore. Like the time I bought that last car that I regret, I asked myself, like, what was behind that purchase? Like, why did you do that? And you already have a method of transportation. It's probably because I just wanted to like flaunt my success and have another vehicle that was new, pretty, and shiny. And that's the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
So,
actually listening to a story where somebody said that they were going to buy a better car to attract and belong to different clubs that have that kind of a car. And I think that's brilliant if you have that kind of money to do. And it was just a different way of attracting investors, right? So that's different. Like he's already made it. But I thought that was brilliant to how to find additional investors that may have the kind of money that you do, right? That may be interested in continuing to build that generational wealth, just not wealth for your immediate family.
yeah, you find that a
But
lot in our world, like people trying to like look like money so they can attract money. But I think the best approach nowadays is just to be relatable, someone that can
exactly,
look at your life and feel like your life looks like their life and not try to outshine one another. But nothing against people who want to go spend their money on brand new cars. Like for me, it doesn't make sense until I'm financially free. And what I mean by that is I no longer have to trade my time for money. If I reach that point and I have expendable income, then, so be it. But I just refuse to go trade my time for a brand new car. I want freedom. I want to be with my family. I want to kick my feet up on the couch and not have to,
exactly,
you know, do anything.
exactly. So my husband drives a 2004 Impala.
Hey, I love it.
The other day he says, honey, I don't think the stick shift work. I'm like, It's probably the transmission. Maybe you should look at buying something new.
You ride that thing till the wheels fall off, Melvin. Literally.
I shouldn't put his business all out there where I'm the host of the
Hey,
podcast.
I'm proud of that. You know, my car that's paid off is a 2007, and it's not going anywhere. I don't care about a new model. I'm going to ride that thing until it does not work.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, financial literacy is definitely not what it's not taught, right? And that's one
No.
of the things that we're trying to do. And actually, just I don't know if we've talked about it because the last time we seen each other in Dallas a few months ago, you know, our mission is to accelerate growth through multifamily investing. Well, I kind of changed that up a little bit. Like, what does it mean? Like, what's important to me? And given that we're a diverse family, really, I want to focus on women. Oh
Mhm.
gosh, so little women investors. As you know, we walk into a room, there's maybe 10% women, and that's if we're lucky. Other events I've been to have probably been less than 5 or 3%. So we are trying to focus on just bringing this message out to women and minorities that have no idea that they can do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's such an important mission because it's the representation, right? And it's people like you and I having that face that someone else can relate to that helps us with our message. It helps inspire others. And that's what I'm here to do as well. You know, empower women of color, empower literally anybody who's willing to listen. Because, I mean, this is, it can be such a game changer to actually put your money to work and not have to do all the work yourself. Like making money in your sleep, compounding interest, like letting things grow and not being responsible for saving. I don't think you can save without investing and have a comfortable retirement. Is that even possible? Like I don't feel like unless you're like making gazillions of dollars, like you have to put your money to work. So people
Yeah.
just need to embrace that.
Yep, yep, for sure. So that's my newfound mission, as well as, I may change that to add, you know, young kids, right? And just trying to drive that home. So we have a long way to go, Yana.
Yeah, but
But
we're
let's
we're
get
doing
out
it, Jack.
there.
We're doing it, and I'm proud of you too because all of you ladies in that book inspire me as well, and I'm just so honored to be a part of that project with you guys. Very
Yeah, that was
powerful women in the book.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So Yana, if people in the audience are that are listening, if they want to get in touch with you, how do they find you? I know Property Princess is your name, so I'm guessing it's something to do with that.
Yeah. So I do have a website. It's therealpropertyprincess.com. And on Instagram, I'm also at The Real Property Princess. And I can also be found on Facebook. I have a group called Real Estate and Investment Strategies. And I would love to connect with anyone who's watching. I'm even open to having one-on-one calls to discuss your goals and give you guidance.
Awesome. She can tell you all about, you don't have to be a millionaire to own part ownership in a, 1,000 unit apartment building.
It takes so
You don't
much
need to have.
less than people expect. And I think that is the golden nugget. Once you really learn, like you can be a partial owner for, what it takes to go on a few vacations in a year.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Yana, thank you so much. And I apologize. I didn't bow to the
Uh,
property princess when I announced you. So there's
I wasn't
there's
wearing my
there's my
crown,
bow
so
there
I'll give
for
you a
you.
pass. No, bowing's optional.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And definitely let's reconnect. I definitely want to see, how far you've come, a year from now so that you can get on here and you can tell me that you're halfway or 3/4 of the way and you have all these cool things going in progress to your financial freedom number.
I will be honored to report back with that news.
All right. Fantastic. All right, girl, let's do this. All right. We'll touch base later. Bye bye.